نحمد ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد بسم الله. Alhamdulillah, we are still in the month of Dhul Hijjah, and I know we celebrated Eid, we are aware of Hajj as a major event in this month, but there are a few other events that are important and relevant in Islamic history, and I wanted to focus on one such event, and that is the event when Uthman was martyred. That also happened in this month. The most commonly understood date is the 18th of Dhul Hijjah. So inshallah we'll reflect a little bit on the life of Uthman and talk about what events led to his shahada. So we understand that Uthman was among the earliest people who accepted Islam. He was from the noble tribe of Quraysh. So definitely he had lots of honor in the community. He was a trader and he had lots of wealth that he was never shying away from sharing with others and spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we will go through some of the virtues that are unique to Uthman. So one, that he was married to two daughters of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he is famous as Dhun-Nurayn, which means the possessor of two lights. So he initially married Ruqayya anha. When she passed away, Prophet ﷺ married his second daughter, Kulsum anha, and then he was given this title. He was also among the 10 people who were given the glad tidings of Jannah at the same time. So Ashra Mubashara. Of course, many other people were given glad tidings by Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but these are the 10 famous people who were given glad tidings in one sitting. So he was among those people who were given glad tidings of paradise. And then there are some narrations about qualities of Uthman. So we'll go through a few of them. One of them being the modesty. He is known for his modesty. And I want to share with you one narration where Aisha explains how much modesty he showed, to the point where even Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned how angels used to be mindful of the modesty of Uthman. So once Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was in the house of Aisha and Abu Bakr came, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was lying down, his thigh was uncovered. So Abu Bakr came, had a conversation. Then later on, Umar came, same thing, had a conversation. But then Uthman came and asked for permission to enter. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gathered his clothes, like fixed his clothes up and covered his thigh. So Aisha asked later on, like, you did not do the same thing for Abu Bakr, Umar, why did you do it for Uthman? And this is what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned. ألا أستحي من رجل تستحي منه الملائكة. Should I not show modesty to one whom even the angels show modesty? So this is the testament of the modesty of Uthman. Another example, the generosity of Uthman. So again, he was among the wealthiest Muslims in the community. At the time of Tabuk, there was a big war ahead, and they needed a lot of equipment, a lot of supplies to make sure that they're prepared for the war. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam called for donation. Of course, many Sahaba brought different donations, but what did Uthman bring? He brought hundreds of camels, gold, silver coins, horses. So he brought so much wealth that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam got happy, to the point where he said twice, "Ma darra Uthman ma amila ba'd al-yawm." Whatever Uthman does after today will not harm him. Subhanallah. So this is what tells us about the stature of Uthman. And in terms of his contributions, one of the major contributions of Uthman that he's compiled the Mus'haf of Quran as we see today. Of course, the gathering of the Mus'haf started in the time of Abu Bakr, but to take it in one printed form like it is today was the work of Uthman. Another major contribution of Uthman as being the third Khalifa of Muslim Ummah among the Khilafah al-Rashidin, meaning the guided caliphs or guided successors of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this time was about 12 years, and the first 6 years historians mentioned were peaceful, and the last 6 years had lots of turmoil. And finally, the era concluded in about 35th of Hijrah, when there's lots of fitna around Medina, and there was a lot of political unrest, lots of propaganda, misinformation. to the point where rebels entered into Medina and they surrounded the house of Uthman ibn Affan. They cut the water supply for many, many days for him. And finally, the day came, 18th of Dhul Hijjah, where rebels were able to enter the house of Uthman ibn Affan. He was fasting after Asr, he was reading Quran, and then he was martyred. So that was the Shahada of Uthman ibn Affan. But the question comes to mind, like, how come such a noble companion of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, someone who had power, I mean, he was the third caliph, how come he did not defend himself? Why he did not defend himself? That's a question that comes to mind. And what historians mention is one of the things that he was very mindful of, Uthman anhu, that he did not want blood to be spilled in the blessed city of Medina. That was his main idea, that I do not want that for his own self, that Muslims, fight with each other and spill blood. And that was really the plan that the rebellions had, that once Muslims start to fight among each other, this deen would be fractured. So he had that understanding, and he thought, I would not make myself in the center of this dispute and this fight. He had an army to support him, but he said, no, do not fight for my protection. That's what led to his shahada. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam already gave him, at least in 2 occasions, this information about what will happen and how he will pass away. So in one narration comes in, Tirmidhi mentioned, Ya Uthman, this is what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saying to him, إِنَّهُ لَعَلَّ اللَّهَ يُقَمِّسُكَ قَمِيسًا فَإِنْ أَرَادُوكَ عَلَى خَلْئِهِ فَلَا تَخْلَعُ لَهُمْ. O Uthman, indeed Allah may give you a shirt, and if they wish that you take it off, do not take it off for them. That's one answer we get. So why he just did not leave caliphhood? If it was all about him being the leader at that point, why he did not leave caliphhood? Well, he did not, because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam clearly mentioned, you will be given an honor, you will be given a responsibility, you will be wearing a shirt, the garment of a Khalifa. Do not take it off. So that was the instruction of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he did not leave caliphhood for that reason. And then another narration tells us about the stature of Uthman anhu and his ending. Comes in Bukhari, Anas bin Malik narrates, Uthbut Uhud, فَإِنَّمَا عَلَيْكَ نَبِيٌّ وَصِدِّيقٌ وَشَهِيدًا. They were on the mountain of Uhud, and the Uhud shook at that point. So what did Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say? O mountain of Uhud, be firm, for on you there is a prophet, a Siddiq, and 2 martyrs. So he had the glad tidings already that he would be among the martyrs, because people knew Abu Bakr was Siddiq, Prophet ﷺ was a prophet. So the 2 other was the other 2 shaheed. So he knew that. And at that point, when there was a lot of resistance around him, he did not resist it. So that was just a brief look into the history of Uthman ibn Affan. What are the lessons that we learn? 1, modesty. That modesty is a sign of faith. We understand that. And Uthman ibn Affan, in every khutbah you hear about this, he is regarded as the pinnacle of modesty. So we should also inculcate modesty in our lives. Wealth. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with wealth, don't keep it for yourself. Share it with others. Spend on others, on the needy. Serve the Quran, serve the deen. He was able to compile the Quran in 1 book and then spread. SubhanAllah, that legacy still remains. Do something in your life that gives you the similar opportunity to spread, the benefit beyond your life. And then show patience in times of difficulty, in fitna. He was surrounded by rebels, and yet he made sure that he is not causing more disruption. Instead, he was trying to get peace around him. So many other lessons, but inshallah we'll conclude and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give us the opportunity to be patient, to be the servant of your deen. Ameen ya Rabbil Alamin. Subhanaka wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.